Abarera, Legos, Ramori, Banish, C10, Demonio, Dinaja, 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 Abarera, Legos, Abarera Nikos Ram Ori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja 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 Abarera Nikos Ram
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Apocrypha, the only Apocrypha podcast on YouTube. It's good to see everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, tonight, I just didn't give a shit. I'm wearing my raggedy old Puma shirt and shit like that, so it's a chill night. Got me some Maker's Mark, so cheers, everybody. I hope it's going well. Infernal blessings to you all.
Cheerios.
Cheerios. You got Cheerios?
I support science.
And something about human rights.
Well, there's a lot more to it, but
He's like, forget that part.
there's
Like,
a lot more to it, but I don't want everybody else to have to deal with my stomach.
right?
They'll be
It's
blinded in the night.
I support science. Fuck the human rights.
Yeah, no, not human rights, just science.
Humans, they all just go to fucking hell.
Science.
Kill them all.
Only science.
Who remembers Bill Nye the Science Guy?
I love Bill Nye the Science Guy, but before him, there was somebody else.
I don't know. I'm not that old, man.
Mr. Wizard's World.
Yeah, I'm not that old.
I am.
I am older, but I am not that old. So, before we get into talking this evening, let's just jump into this week's tarot read. What big decks do you have for us this evening?
Out of support for equity, diversity, and inclusion, I chose a small deck because all decks are beautiful. So this deck is a smaller deck. It's called Out of Hand. We have talked about this one before, actually, on tarot, and we've seen some people use it. But tonight, we are going to use it for us. They are relatively small cards. They look big because of the way the camera's set up, but they're small.
Tiny.
I mean, it's all relative, right? What's small and big, but
they're micro decks. Really small.
They're micro decks. I think it's about 4 inches.
Damn.
And then we've got some pretty modern imagery. And I don't mind the borders on these because the borders are really small. They fit for some reason. So, yeah, that's the deck we're going to use. It's literally, I'll be honest, I'm not going to lie. I'm a very bad person. I'm pretty sure this is a bootleg deck. I didn't think it was, but then after getting it and seeing some of the posts from the author, I realized that it probably is. I'm going to try to find a way to support that author with a donation or something in its place, just so that's out there. Because pretty sure this is a bootleg version. But I like it, so there's that.
It's all that matters. It's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. I haven't met a deck I don't like.
I can't comment on that. I've only ever met my own.
That's so sad.
Not for me, it's not.
So, it's just sad in general. I've met a couple of...
He's looking at a deck right now.
A couple of sleeves, pouches, I guess, in my life.
Tacos.
He just said, "What's a pouch?" A pouch for the deck. Anyway, let's move on. Actually, this week's read is a fun read too. We have all wands, and this is a used deck. I've used it before. It's been shuffled a lot, and all 3 cards are wands. So our energy this week is total fire. We're gonna have a chaotic week ahead. That's gonna suck. As far as that, the energy is going to go out of place. But we're going to start with our King of Wands, and that's actually pretty cool. Because as you know, the King is the representation of a male energy related to creativity, craftsmanship, making things, and doing stuff. So either you're going to need to tap into the male energy of your creative side. This is a speed, a fast-moving thing, or there'll be somebody around you in that field of kingness. that's going to be present to kind of guide through some part of this whatever it is we're doing. But I will say, starting off on a read that has all um, Wands cards is going to be pretty interesting because of where we're end up. So King, remember, this is our person. So we're representing people there. We have the Six of Wands next. So the Six of Wands is about working together to come up with something. Remember, it's the middle section. This is the middle of the deck. Kind of like I'm doing the thing. I've been doing the thing. It's getting kind of crazy, but I realized I needed some help. I got some help, and now I'm going to recognize that I have somebody helping me. So this is about doing this firework together or having people with you. So this is not a loner week. This isn't the week to, soak in the tub and be quiet and sulk. It's get the people around you while the energy is high and use it, because if you do, you will end with the 10 of Wands. And the 10 of Wands, as you can see here, is not just success, but having what you need through your own manifestation, right? So it's not just getting what you need. It's not just having what you need. It is, I am successful in moving with what I need because I did the work. That's the difference between the Wands and some of the other cards. This is all about all these packages I have. I worked for them. I did what it took to get them. Granted, you have help, and you need to ask for help and have somebody assisting it with you. There's also obviously some recognition. This traditionally is a card that represents being recognized or for an achievement. So make sure that you give credit where it's due and take credit when you should take credit. For those of you like having issues or things happening at work, this is definitely a work-related read. This is really intense from a creative aspect too. So if your work is also your creative outlet, then you really are going to need to pay attention to what's around you to kind of pull in some extra things, some extra ideas, thoughts, and things to help you work through it. So from an energy standpoint, lots of high active energy, lots of fire energy, lots of let's move, let's do this, let's get it done, and a really good outcome at that. So bring in your fire this week. Excuse me. That was the Brussels sprouts I had for dinner. That was not part of the read. So
I'm going to ask you because it's all Wands. Can you flip one more just to get some context?
Yeah.
Just one more. Swear to God, if it's Wands again, like I'd say I pull my hair out, but I don't have any. The Devil. Damn. All right.
So it does color this. This basically says that everything that we just talked about only is going to be a part of the movement forward that you need to go if you allow yourself to kind of let go and really experience something. So to me, the devil shows up when you're blocking yourself out of something or you're preventing yourself from seeing what's right in front of you. Right? It's the chains. You have to break the chains that bind you, but the chains are your own. You have complete control over it. So you put a whole bunch of fire in, and then you add the devil, and the energy again is chaotic. So that means next week again, there's going to be lots of chaos, and chaos isn't a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say it, and I hear how it sounds like, oh God, I think it's terrible. No, chaos is a good thing. That's where new energies come around that you don't have access to before, right? That's a whole new creative juice, a creative spiral of things. And you go from starting with the person, the king, right? So this high masculine fire starter energy, that is the creative spark. That person is bringing that to the table. You're going to need to recognize and assist and have the help and put it together. And then you're going to also be moving it through to that 10, which means your outcomes are going to be new energy to pull from. I'm trying to find the right phrase I'm looking for. Not new energy is too vague. It's you will be able to create newer things because you'll have more material to work from that wasn't there before. If you allow yourself to be creative and not be too worried about what other people are thinking and holding you back, which is the devil. Good or bad, the devil card for me is always if we are looking at this from a be your own God person, right? then the devil's the one telling you, he's like, well, shit, be your own god, be your own devil, be your own demon, but do the shit. Don't just sit around and wait for somebody else to tell you to do it.
Always on fucking point, Mystic. Always on fucking point.
Love my devil. That's a nice devil.
It is. That's a very cool devil.
But what's really cool about this devil? You think about it, what I just said, right? Breaking the chains that bind you, but they're your own chains, and you have control over it. See, the devil in the shadow there is made out of the person's hands, again, showing that you're in control of that piece, right? You are the devil. We are the devil. God knows I am some days.
Here, and I'm here to do the devil's work.
Yeah. I like the devil's work.
As do I, my friend. As do I. I am very in tune with that. Very in tune with that energy.
Just catching up in chat. Thank you, Slim. I try. I try really hard. Everybody's talking about, I don't know. It's a cute deck.
The artwork was good. The artwork was good.
Yeah, that's what drew me to it, and we've talked about it before, but like I said, I think this is a bootleg.
Were you aware it's a bootleg when you bought it?
I was aware that bootlegs existed, but I thought I was getting the one that wasn't, and I feel like I missed that. So I'm gonna look it up later. Yeah, usually you can tell because it had a little like all the QR codes had all the original stuff on it, and it had a little authentic sticker label.
Yeah.
So, but come to find out, it's not even in print anymore. So.
You might have a bootleg. That works.
Pretty sure I do.
As long as it works for you.
It's not the deck's fault. It didn't choose. It just was. And now that it is, it's what I'm working with.
It's kind of like...
I don't want a Diablo deck. I'm sorry.
I like the Diablo deck. Just too fucking big.
Mm-hmm. That's what she said. Why I don't like the Diablo deck.
No, I love the fucking artwork, man. Like I use it specifically because I am really drawn to the artwork. But
yeah,
God,
that is a deck you can like frame.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the box is so nice and stuff like that. Like I think they went big because they wanted to make sure you could see the artwork, but it's like it's not practical to use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, could you imagine trying to do a Celtic cross reading with that fucking thing?
You'd need a whole fucking table.
It's just insane. It's insane. So let's see here. Let's get the announcements out of the way here at the beginning. I always forget to do it at the end of the show. Witch skills still in production. Mystic is steaming through on the tarot course. He will be working.
Yeah, the first two videos are ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Yep. So there's that. Black Witch Dyra doing an amazing fucking job with the Demonolatry course. You guys are not going to want to miss that. Like, it's absolutely exceptional. I'm doing the Satanism course, which is going to piss a lot of Satanists off because I'm technically not a Satanist. So that should be fun to see the kickback off of that one. Dragon Dancer is doing the herbalism course, or the herbal magic course, rather. So lots of things to offer. We got a general occult studies course, which also Mystic is going to be plowing through that as well later on.
That's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while,
but I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So, yeah, witch skills, man, witch skills. Like, soft launch is the end of this month. So, Anybody that is interested in being a part of the soft launch, you don't have to pay anything for the soft launch. You get 2 weeks to kind of test it out and check it out. Message myself, message Mystic, or even Black Witch Dyra. Like, if you're interested in the soft launch, okay? To get information, and we will discuss who is going to be able to have access. Right? Which skills is going to be designed to be the place to go for.
The place.
To go for occult knowledge in educational format. Okay. Seti, don't speak too soon, my friend. don't speak too soon.
Yeah.
But we do offer payment plans. So, I mean, we gotta make a buck off of it, man. There's a lot of work going into this. Like, you know, the time that it takes to research this stuff, get the material together, get the studies together. Like, I mean, a profit does have to be made to a certain degree. But for the soft launch, we're not looking to make any money off the soft launch. Really, we're trying to get feedback from you guys and what you think. I'm not selling kidneys as much as I love you.
Yeah,
So,
no kidneys.
yeah, no
Although
kidneys.
we might be able to use that in the herbal magic.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, we're not gonna need your kidney. We're not gonna need your kidney. So, essentially, the way the pricing is being broken down as it stands right now. So, an entire program, which is a year program, so it's 4 semesters, it's 1 year. That's a lot of information. Quizzes, tests, you know, just to make sure you're retaining the knowledge and that you understand what you're being taught. Practical application, meaning like actual kind of like go do a fucking ritual, you know, type of thing. So with everything that's kind of there's also going to be live sessions with your teacher of the course that you're in. So if you're taking demonology, for example, you'll have an opportunity to speak to, you know, Black Witch Dyra in a live session to kind of like for like a half an hour or so to kind of discuss what it is you're learning and have like, you know, any questions. Sad World, thank you for the $2. Like, appreciate the money. It all helps. So the entire program, 1 year program, is $1,000. Now we understand that a $1,000 program is not accessible to everybody. So the idea is that because it's set up in 4 semesters, we can break it down into anywhere between 4 to 6 payments. Like, if you want less than that, if you want to do 2 payments, 3 payments, you could do that. But like the highest level is like 4 to 6 payments as you go through the course. The aspects of the course that you pay for, you'll always have access to that because it's already been paid for. You can go back, you can review, you can redo it, all that stuff. At the end, when you complete the course, you will earn a certification in that particular area. So if you are to do the whole year in demonology, at the end of that course, you will receive a certification in demonology, right? Or herbal magic, or, you know, general occult studies. Yeah, I mean that was the idea, like kind of like and there's also like the understanding that you're not going to get harped on if you like don't make like a certain payment. You just don't have access to a certain part, right? So once you make that payment, then you get access to that part of it, right? So that's kind of the idea. Like it didn't make sense to do more payments because of the fact that it's 4 semesters. It's only 1 year long, right? So you're talking one semester, right, is 3 months, essentially, right? So it's not like every month you're paying a certain amount, or like you can pay like the one part. If you do 4 payments, you can pay your first semester, go through the first semester, and wait until the end of that semester to make the next payment. Right?
Or the next year if you have to.
Yeah, or the next year if you have to. If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. You know, so we don't want people to feel like they're pressured to finish a course or finish a program, or you know, make their payments. It's whatever you're kind of comfortable with, and like how you want to kind of go through making those payments.
And I will point out that we will have other elective courses like the Tarot, which is not going to be $1,000. It's 12 weeks. The Tarot is 12 weeks, but it's not even half that. So
it's not even half that.
Yeah. So not everything is going to be that. Like I think Tarot, don't know what they're going to be yet, but there will be others.
It's barely a quarter of the price, isn't it?
Yeah, about that.
So, yeah, so you still could get like a sufficient amount of knowledge in the elective courses. The elective courses, however, don't offer certification. Only the programs do. So the programs offer certification. I mean, I guess you could still call it a certificate. You will get a certificate of completion of the electives, but it's not the same as like the certification in said area, right? And also, some of the programs are going to be broken down also into courses, which are going to be shorter, bite-sized pieces. Because let's say you're an advanced practitioner, and you already know like all the, you know, first and second semester shit, and you only want to take the fourth and fifth semester, the fourth and fifth, the third and fourth semester. You
Math
can do that.
is not a course we're going to teach. No math.
You know, so like you can take it in bite-sized pieces, stuff like that. Like it. We really wanted to be able to work it around people's economic situations, right? We don't want anyone feeling like, oh shit, well I have to pay $1,000. No, you don't. You have the option of paying it up front. And also, like, one of the things that we're kind of doing, like when we do the hard launch in October, the programs starting out are going to be $800 instead of $1,000. And then you can still take that $800 and you can still make payments on that $800 4 to 6 months. Right? So there's that. We're also going to be including in which skills directly connected to it is going to be an online occult supply store. So handmade candles, oils, jewelry, like a lot of things, you know, like that. And, you know, so some other mass-produced stuff like pendants and stuff like that will be sold through the store. I'm currently working on trying to get connected with some publishers that we can work out something to sell digital versions of certain people's works through the store. I don't have an ETA on that, but that is something that I'm working on because I thought it would be nice to offer physical and digital copies of, you know, certain occult writers. So yeah, so there's a lot going into this. Like, we really want to encompass the idea that everyone fell in love with Hogwarts, right? Like, and not in the fantasy way, but literally taking the realistic parts and aspects, like the realism of the occult, the realism of the practice, and applying that into, you know, an actual educational structure, right? Now, the occult, I will sit here, these are standardized courses. They have standardized testing, but I do have to say that the occult in and of itself cannot be standardized, right? There's so many branches and aspects of it that it would just be absolutely impossible for us to cover everything. But with what we're covering, we think that we're covering a large enough basis to be able to standardize what it is that we are teaching, right? this is, you know, something. This is kind of like a dream of mine. You know, I'm proud to say that I'm working with Mystic Salon and Black Witch Dyra, you know, to bring this to life and bring it together. You know, I couldn't think of better people to be working with to kind of make this happen. So, you know, very excited about that. Other advertising that we're going to throw in, always Threads for the Dead, right? If you guys want, you know, to rep our kind of gothic occult, you know, inspired clothing, t-shirt designs, things like that, go to threadsforthedead.com. You know, it's the easiest way for you to kind of support us, support the show, and get something cool in return for it, like immediately, right? It's from Threads for the Dead. And also, I think the last thing on that is my website, addiusdade.com, is finally up and open. So ritual services, tarot readings, all of that fun stuff. You can jump on the website and book me for a ritual, book me for a tarot reading, book me for anything but OnlyFans, basically. So, yep. So there's that. So that is open now, so you can go there and do that. Also, it's not. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not counseling. What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Spiritual. Oh, I have to actually look at the site now. Like, I forgot the word. Spiritual consultation. A consultation. There you go. So spiritual consultation, ritual work, or divination. And in the divination section, it can be a tarot reading, it could be runes, it could be scrying, you know, so there's several different types of, you know, divination work that can be done if you guys are interested. So that's there. So go ahead and check it out if you're interested in getting a ritual done or having some divination or even just a spiritual consultation. It's there and the services are open and waiting for you guys. So outside of all of that, getting that all the fuck out of the way, I think a good subject to pick up on, because Mystic was talking about chaos and he mentioned chaos doesn't necessarily have to be negative. I think that is a good point to start at. So chaos. So it's funny, this is going to sound really stupid, but it kind of falls into, I just recently watched Jurassic Park, or rather Jurassic World again. And I don't know if you guys, I can't remember his name, but there's that one actor that apparently he's just like, you know, the name in chaos theory and chaos philosophy. Chaositician, I think he called himself. Like he's the one that always kind of fumbles on his words. Right? He's like, yeah.
Who's that?
Goldblum, is it?
Jeff Goldblum?
I think it's Jeff Goldblum.
Could be. He's an odd dude.
Yes, it is. It is Jeff Goldblum. So Jeff Goldblum is like the chaos guy in Jurassic Park. And he talks about how nature is in a constant state of chaos and that nothing that we do to try to control nature will ever actually control nature. And I find this to be an interesting concept, especially going into the occult, because a lot of the occult is very nature-based. It's very naturally kind of drawn. And we are dealing with natural forces. So what the question I'd like to tackle here is, yes, in magic, we learn the ability to manipulate the energies around us to our own benefit. But how far can we actually manipulate those energies until they decide to bounce back into our face? Right? That is the question that I'm bringing up here. A mystic, and I'm curious, like right off the bat, I wonder what you're thinking.
I think they always do.
How so?
Like, there's no limit. There's no like point of no return where I'm working something some ritual or some magic or some type of energy field work, whatever it is, where there's a point where it becomes a snapback. Because it's always balancing. I do believe truly energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can be reassembled in different ways, and it can be you know deconstructed in different ways, but it cannot be destroyed. So, and I also believe for every action there's the equal and opposite reaction. It may not be in the same way, right? Just like with I like to think of magic kind of as the light bulb. No electricity applied to the light bulb, it doesn't light up, but it is still a light bulb. So magic and energy and nature is the light bulb. It's there, whether it's lit up or not. It's always there, and it's going to take. I'm going to make this up because the numbers won't match, but 40 watts of power. That's me. I'm the magician. I'm going to take 40 watts of my power. I'm going to light up nature, the light bulb, to do my magic. And then within that, 80% of that is light, but 20% is heat. So when we do magic and we do things, there's equal and opposite reactions, but they're not always one reaction. It's multiple reactions. They can go in many different ways. So I think as far as manipulating energy to get your will, is probably an unlimited ability to do that. But part of that equal and opposite reaction is your individual action.
So do you think
So
the reaction that's happening is more like a Tesla coil or a stone being thrown in a pond?
A stone in a pond for sure, because it's effective in ways that are unmeasurable forever. Because when you throw a stone in the pond, you have ripples, and the ripples continue on and they go out, but eventually they stop because there's no more energy. The energy's been dissipated. The energy's still there. It's just no longer in that type of energy. It's now in molecules in the air from when they sped up or whatever the case is. So it's definitely to me more like a stone in the pond, but even then it's not exactly that. It's its own thing. When I do candle magic, for example, a lot of people joke candle magic and how like beginner it is. I've been doing this for 30 years. I can tell you candle magic is not a beginner thing. When you have it down pat and you know what kind of energy you're putting into something to get what you're looking for, to manipulate the energy around you, 30% of that goes out into the universe and it hears what I'm looking for, because I do also believe in the law of attraction. That other 60% is actions that I have to make it happen. So, and I guess in I've just said it out. I've never said it that way or thought of that, but I guess in a short nutshell, you can do as much magic and manipulation as you are willing to act.
Slightly off topic here before I forget about it. Like, you're really on the small things tonight, huh? Small nuts, small decks.
Yeah, I like small things sometimes. Nice and easy and relaxing and fun.
I guess so. The way that I think about like the comparison between a Tesla coil and a stone in the pond, a stone in the pond feels more like kind of like controlled chaos. Like it's still chaos. Like there's still like the explosive event of the stone going into the pond, which there's a splash, right? There's the micro ripples that happen from the waterfall lifting out of the water and landing back into the pond. Those also cause like ripples, and then the actual ripple effect from the stone going into the pond as well. And it feels in for like comparison's sake, or for kind of like the metaphor itself, that yes, there is chaos that exists, but it's not chaos as we think of as chaos being. Like we think of chaos as being, generally as human beings, chaos as being without control or without order. And chaos in nature is very much the opposite.
If you believe, like I do, that there's infinite possibilities on top of infinite possibilities, that may not be realized, but those possibilities are still there, and they are infinite, and they are every potential that ever exists, then every bit of chaos, at whatever frequency it manifests at, is going to occur.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're doing with magic to me, is you're dialing in the frequency that you need to be on so that you can match the things together to make them happen. Law of attraction. But that the important part for, and I'm not a chaos magician, by the way. I have read a couple of books, Lieber Nolan Psychonaut and a couple of others actually, and watched a few chaos magicians on YouTube and stuff. I'm not a chaos magician, but understanding quantum energy requires an understanding of chaos in a magical way, like in another universe way, and it opens up so many possibilities of how to think things through differently. It gets insane because it's if you have an infinite possibility and you dial into what you want and you make action, that infinite possibility then becomes reality based on your magic and your action.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get the rock to the other side, you have to throw it hard enough, and you know.
So, how about the people that believe that the idea of spiritual balance and spiritual chaos are contrary?
Never thought of it that way. I don't. I usually. I don't think spiritual. What was the first one in spiritual chaos?
So, spiritual balance and
Balance.
spiritual chaos are contrary to
The
one another.
spiritual balance to me, like if in what I think, if somebody said that to me, I'm thinking, okay, well then spiritual balance to you is not what it is to me. That means static. That's the balance for in that case is static. It's equal, and I'm like, nothing is ever statically equal. It's dynamically equal. It's 3 points this way, 7 points that way, and so that range just moves up and along. You know what I mean, down
Mm-hmm.
that thing, but it's all relative. So I don't really believe that that's even possible. That those things are. One of them is the stale middle of the line. The other one is an extreme of the line.
Yeah, I
And
agree with
neither is
you.
balanced.
I mean, the question comes from because the idea of like when people like I think that have kind of like a basic linguistic understanding of what the meaning of the words are. So when you think of balance, you think of something that is like equal on either side and balanced equally out. And then when you think of chaos, you think of the complete opposite. You think that inside of chaos, there is no balance. I do believe that is kind of like an untrue kind of perspective. I think that it is in chaos that inside the chaos of nature we find balance. Like,
thank you.
If we go back to
Sorry.
The ripples in the pond, just from a visual perspective, an aesthetic perspective, yes, there's chaos happening, but there is still balance also happening. Like the water moves, the water adjusts, as the stone sinks and, the ripples go out evenly.
Can we say it seeks equilibrium as opposed to balance? Because that's really what it's doing. It's just like in your blood. Your blood has to be at a very specific pH.
Mm-hmm.
And not every part of your blood is at that pH. There are some acidic parts, some basic parts, and some that are at that part. So the equilibrium is a state where there is enough of the things that are in the middle or enough of the things on the outer skirts that are balancing out that things are stable, but they're still not balanced. They're still not. It's different than equilibrium. And so when it comes to energy like that, to me, I think that's important because when throw that rock, like visually, people are going to say, well, after the rock settles to the bottom, nothing's changed. The ripples are gone and the lake has returned to normal, but it hasn't. It's
Forever
in a new
changed.
equilibrium. Yeah, it's a new equilibrium, forever changed. There's now a displaced rock at the bottom, and those ripples, that energy went somewhere. It went into the water. Maybe it heated up the water a milli, whatever degree that it would do. But I think that's what people kind of, or in my opinion, what might be missed in that analogy, that visual, is the recognition that it's not the same river anymore. Everything has changed, and that to me is a really nice thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like learning, right? And it's like engaging with new people and being on the podcast and talking to people. You get a new perspective. You're not the same anymore. Everything has changed.
Mm-hmm. I really like. So I mean, this is kind of moving off the occult, but I mean, maybe not. So I'm one of those people that I believe that martial arts can play a very strong role in the occult, right?
Well,
I believe that the discipline to push your body to its limits, natural limits, and then still go beyond that even more in martial arts is very much like what the occult is. Like the occult is taking your gnosis and taking who you are as a person and stretching you out spiritually to your very limits, the point of almost breaking, but then allowing you to grow stronger. And I'm saying this because one of my favorite quotes from Bruce Lee is, "Be like water." Right? Like whatever you put water in, it becomes that thing. You put a water in a cup, it becomes the cup. You put it in a vase, it becomes the vase. Water will move in a way to adapt to its surroundings immediately and then rest in that place until it's moved again. But it always finds a way to fit, right? And in spirituality, I believe that spirituality should be very much the same way. Whether you are working the left-hand path or you're working Wicca, or I do not believe that we benefit from rigid systems, right? It's one of the main reasons why we came to the occult anyway, right? We came over here because we want to have that freedom of movement. We want to be able to grow and adapt ourselves as we learn more. When you're in a rigid system, like something like Catholicism or something like that, that type of growth is preached against. Like, you're not supposed to grow. You're not supposed to question. You're not supposed to learn more. You're supposed to read, accept, and that's it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it really popped something in my head, about Destiny 2. The game. The game has two kind of fighting forces, right? The light and the darkness. So basically, you have the Traveler, and then you have the Witness.
Mm-hmm.
The Traveler brings light everywhere, and then there's good and bad, and it says, there's so much light, it's so much chaos. People get hurt. The light can burn you, it can hurt you, and people will die. And the Traveler's like, I know, but that's what makes the life beautiful, right? The Witness wants everybody to be the same, so that there's no fighting, there's no anger, no frustration. But when you look at all the things and you settle it all down, it comes out to, I wouldn't want to be a part of being perfectly balanced all the time. And don't get me wrong, Buddhist monks, great on you. The dedication is real. Congratulations. But I don't want to be like that. I want to have highs and lows.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds silly, and I think people are sometimes like, I don't know that I would want to choose that, but I'm like, I think you would. If we were all balanced all the time, magically or even just psychologically, it would not be. It'd be boring as fuck.
Well, it's not even just that. It's so here's the thing. So, simple question that a lot of people get asked: are you happy? And
Yeah,
that's a dangerous question. Now, why is that a dangerous question? Why is "are you happy" a dangerous question? Because "are you happy" inherently requires you to be in a stagnant state with everything that you are in, and say that you are pleased to the point of no longer needing or wanting more. And for me, that's akin to just death. That's akin to dying. Now, I'm not...
blue pill, red pill, right?
Mm-hmm, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not grateful for the things that I have. I am very grateful for everything that I have and everything that I've obtained. But I want more. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more. And if there's anything that the left-hand path teaches us, right, is that there's nothing wrong with wanting more. Be grateful for what you have. Don't be a snob about it. Don't complain about the things that you have, because there are things that you have that others don't. Be grateful for the things that you have. But it's okay to want more. It's okay to want to keep pushing forward. It's okay to want to keep fighting to get more, to have a better physique, to have a better job, to make more money, to be more knowledgeable in the occult. There's nothing wrong with these things. I think the concept of overall happiness, I don't think it exists. I don't think it should exist. Like, I don't think... So I'm going to quote Dennis Leary here. Like, and I know many of you are probably not old enough to know who the fuck Dennis Leary is. If you don't, look him up. Dennis Leary had a skit. And he says, life sucks, get a fucking helmet. Happiness comes in small doses. It comes in the form of a 5-second orgasm. It comes in the form of a chocolate chip cookie. It comes in the form of a cigarette. And what do? You come, you eat the cookie, you smoke the butt, and you wake up and you go back to fucking work the next day. That's life, right? Be grateful for what you have. Enjoy the moments in which you are truly happy. But you don't have to settle. Now I'm curious, Mystic, do you agree or disagree?
Well,
Because I see your face, like there's like a slight disagreement there.
there is. So I believe from all of these kind of topics merging together that there is confusion between happiness and joy. To me, the moments of things that add up to being happy are joy. I feel good. I feel joyful about things. I think happiness is something that is existing, and it can be applied to a large swath. I would say in my life, I am overall happy. I am not satisfied if it was just the same thing every day. I want to experience joy. I also don't want to admit it, but I want to experience sadness.
Mm-hmm.
I want to experience all those different things so that I can be happy, because that overall is happy for me. I can honestly say the last 10 years I have enjoyed my life. I get really irritated with flying, but I get really happy when I see my dogs. But overall, yeah, I'm a happy person.
Rook, don't take it personally. He didn't say he was happy to see you. He was just happy to see the dogs.
Yeah, he knows. He knows.
Don't take it personally, Rook.
He knows. Yeah, but I think the important thing about that really comes down to: do I think there is? Yes. Do other people think there's not? Fine. Everybody's going to experience things differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would hate to say people who are searching for happiness to dash them and say happiness doesn't exist. I think that's a very nihilistic way to look at it, and can also be somewhat self-serving if you're in a place where you're not happy with your life. It is good to want more. It's good to want to join more and be grateful for what you have. To me, that's happiness. Being grateful, having moments of joy, having moments of sadness when things happen, but overall being able to progress and continue to learn and continue to get new information, continue to meet new people, that's happy for me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I look at it differently. One, I never use the word joy because it reminds me of that fucking chocolate that I fucking hate, that chocolate coconut almond fucking thing, Almond Joy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I never use the word joy. That's just me, though. And I do believe, for me, I think overall happiness, I think is, I don't know, like for me, I think it, I as far as like semantically looking at it, I disagree. I would take the word satisfaction and say that I'm overall satisfied with the position that my life is in, but
This seems boring to me.
You know, I still want more. I mean, but I think it makes happiness more of a magical thing. Those moments where you truly are happy, like where you truly feel happiness. Like, because I don't think it's. I think it's like having an orgasm. Like having an orgasm is an amazing thing and it feels great, but you can't have it all day.
Like, I know there's penis and happiness, but orgasm. Y'all got that? That was cute. But orgasms to me have nothing to do with happy.
It's a reference to how it
I know
feels.
what you
Like
mean.
it's a euphoric sensation. Talk.
Well, if
It
anybody
caused.
ever has an orgasm and goes, "Oh my God, I'm so happy," then you have a problem. I'm just saying. I'm kidding. I'm being facetious,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I just
I just feel like happiness. The word happiness or happy should be taken care of like love. Like I think like I as
yeah, we
someone that.
fundamentally disagree with that.
Yeah, but I
So
feel like as
I'll let
somebody
you know.
that does philosophically like align himself like almost 100% with like the philosophies of the Satanic Bible, I don't believe that it is possible for you to love everybody. I believe it's
Yeah, I
possible
do.
for you to love many people, but in different ways. But in an attempt to try to love everyone, you degrade the amount of love that you're providing to those that actually deserve it. And I think happiness is very much the same way, is that those magical, happy, truly happy moments that you have with the people that you love, if you sit there and you use the term happy in reference to the generality of your life, it degrades like kind of like the semantic meaning of saying I'm truly happy in this moment. Well, if you're happy overall in your life, what's the difference of being truly happy in this moment? To say I'm truly happy in this moment is another level of being just satisfied with how your life is. And I think that falls kind of on the back of the idea of having gratitude, so there's no stagnation in the movement of your life. Because I do believe that when you reach that point where you're 100% kind of like just generally happy with everything, that's where the health starts to decline, the body starts to give out, because the mind and the body are a powerful thing in union. And I personally believe that when people begin to, medically degrade in old age and the body starts to give out, there's a point where they don't feel like there's anything left for them to give. Like, and now there's obviously probably a million different scientific reasons that are going to be able to rebuttal what I'm about to say. But I mean, I've seen, 90 or even 100 plus year old people that are still coherent and able to recall, amazing moments in their life. And when they're asked why they are where they are, I mean, some of them will give kind of like a stupid answer, like, they drink like moonshine or some shit. But for the most part, the primary answer that those people give is that they have a reason to keep going. And the people that their bodies start to kind of follow their mind and give out on them is because they no longer feel, a purpose to keep going.
Yeah, I would say probably my healthcare experience that
Mm-hmm. I was hoping you would give
I
this
mean,
because you work with old people.
well, I mean, that's not just old people, young people too, that in their 50s and 60s that have lost, that have dementia that can't function. So, I have to be, just clear. We completely disagree on this. I think we've talked about it before.
Okay.
And this is one of the things in the Satanic Bible that I found absolutely. It's one of the reasons why I'm like, I'm never going down this route with this group, with the Satanism. Because I do believe that you can love everybody. I do believe that you can hold love and space for everybody, including the people that have done you wrong, because I also believe that we are all one group of human beings. We are all connected, and I can't separate those two. I cannot separate the idea that we're not connected if we are not all part of the same
Mm-hmm.
love and the same group some way. I may not like you. I may not want to be around you. I may not want you to eat at my table, as I believe Tupac said, but I want you to eat. And
Yeah, but
that
that
is the
doesn't
kind of
mean that you
love.
love the
So
person.
it does, but it does to me.
Okay.
You cannot define for me what love is, right?
Okay.
Right? Does that love feel different than the love I have for Rook? Absolutely. Completely different thing. Things have more than one meaning, right? So to deny that to me is to deny the connection that we all have together.
I mean,
Um,
I think the disagreement that we have is in the semantics of it, because the way that I look at it, like for example, like you just said, I may not like you, and in my brain automatically goes, well, if you don't like someone, how can you possibly love them in any way? Like that's how where my brain
the
goes.
same way. The same way you love a dog that bit you and you can't have it in your house anymore, and it's not its fault that it bit you because it has been beaten, but you still love the animal. It's the same thing to me. I'm not saying that people bite me. I mean, you can. But yeah, to me, love is so emotionally separate from every other feeling, and process, that it doesn't have the effect of me that it has other people. Like, I just I feel it differently. Being in love is different. Romantic love is different. Lust is
Mm-hmm.
different. Desire, all those things. But in the context of humanity as a whole, I do believe I have love for everybody. People that have done me wrong, it's why people think I'm a doormat all the time. Uh, I, it's not the way people think it is. It's not me being weak. I don't have the time to hold on to that negativity or that thing, because I know you're a human being, and I know that you might screw over 10 people and then have one person that really does, care for you, and you have that person no matter what you've done. Not up to me to figure out, but that's just how I feel about how love functions on a worldview. It's not the same as the way it functions on an individual or a person to person view. And that again is one of the things that really kind of pushed me away from Satanism, because I've never believed in a us versus them, or a I'm over here, you're there, and that's what that leads to.
I think that aspect of the philosophy is a bit misunderstood because I don't see it that way. I don't see it as an us versus them or these people are over here.
Like, he
I
almost pretty much says that in that passage, though.
I mean he might. I mean, I'd have to read it again, but I don't understand it that way.
And
I
he
don't I
talks
don't
about, if you're in his family, in his tribe with him, you are in, and if you're not, I can't care about you. You can't. You have to be over there because we're against each other. He says that.
I'd have to read it again because I don't look at it that way. I won't say that I love everyone and I'm capable of loving everyone, but I look at it in terms of like humanistic respect. Like, I may not agree with you or like you as an individual, which in indefinite terms means I will never love you, but that doesn't mean I want you to fail or I want you to suffer, right? I want you, like you said, I want you to be able to eat, just not with me. Um, and how you do that, that's on you. Those are your choices. I'm not going to be the one to help you eat, you know. Um, but I'm not going to wish you, any harm or negativity, because that also takes energy, right? And for somebody that, I don't agree with, or like somebody that like I'm at odds with, you know, I'm not going to give you the energy of loving you, but I'm also not going to give you the energy of hating you.
I think that's probably my nursing background, because I will give you the love because my hope is that it'll change you, and it doesn't cost me anything to provide it. In the worldview that I have, which
Mm-hmm.
is probably quite
I
different.
think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. Yes, we do disagree, but I do still, I mean, I respect it and I find it interesting. Um, and one of the things I love it when we come to these fundamental disagreements because that's what Apocrypha is about. Like, we're not supposed to agree on everything.
No, I think the bigger lesson probably is, though, we're always searching to define happiness for ourselves, and it's easy to get into a mind process of it's never enough, or things are always bad. I mean, I complain constantly about flying. I have to also remind myself how much I love my job,
Mm-hmm.
because I'll get myself into this thing where I'm like, oh, I hate my job. This is ridiculous. I can't do it anymore. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not true. I hate flying, but I still love my job.
Mm-hmm.
I like what I'm doing. I like who I work with. So focusing on that as part of what provides me general happiness in my life and my abilities, and the things that I've worked for to get where I'm at, pretty happy
Yeah.
overall. Like, my life is low stress for the most part, and from a chaos energy perspective, um, I can't control the chaos, but I can identify it and I can move with the flows of it. That's
Right.
what's been important.
Oh, yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, I'm with there. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think that's one of the good things that's also interesting about chaos energy. If you throw out 6 billion people on a line of chaos energy, you will find a pattern. People will be similar, people will be different, and people will be able to group together.
Mm-hmm.
In that chaos, there is order.
Well, it's not supposed to be about what we disagree about. It's supposed to be the common ground that we have. So there's actually something that I kind of wanted to mention that I saw earlier today. So I started watching this really under budget, stupid fucking movie, and it is a really
My
dumb
favorite.
fuck. Yeah, it really is a dumb fucking movie. But there's this one part in the movie in the very beginning where the main character, he's an ethics professor, right? And he starts kind of talking about the concept of ethics and how society works as a whole and why ethics exist, right? Like, so where one person might think that the legal system is failing and others might believe that the legal system is doing what it's supposed to do.
Hmm.
In the sense that the legal system is still providing like a person the opportunity to prove their innocence. They're not just getting thrown in prison willy-nilly without process. And that ethically speaking, there is a certain level of morality that society in general has agreed upon, and the way that laws work is that laws are implemented in a certain way so that everyone has this general idea of what we agree on and what's morally and immorally, like what's morally acceptable. And it is inside of that where we find ethics, like the ethical practice of law and things like that. And so where this kind of ties into what we're talking about, that same concept of ethics, right? And the kind of like the idea of morality is, even with this discussion, despite the disagreement, whether it be a semantic disagreement or a fundamental disagreement, which are different. Semantical disagreements is we technically agree, but we're just saying the same thing differently. And then a fundamental disagreement is that on the fundamental basis of the ethical or moral idea of what's being talked about, there's a disagreement. And even inside of the occult, we have a certain level of ethics that we follow, or that we try to follow, and a certain way in where we dictate what is correct and what isn't correct, despite the ideas inside of the left-hand path where, you know, some people in the left-hand path think it's fine to curse everybody just because you don't like the way their nose looks, and other
Yeah.
people, you know, think that it's completely immoral to curse anyone for any reason. You know, there's obviously a big, you know, fucking gap there, right? Between, like, you know, what is considered moral and immoral. But at the end of the day, we still do have a societal ethics that intertwines with our practice, right? So I believe in everything that we do, the societal ethics that we've agreed upon is probably the best route to go with most things. And I believe that a lot of the unnecessary chaos that happens is due to trying to break out of that ethical hierarchy, right? That structure that's been built. And that's not necessarily to say that breaking out of that structure is a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. But when you try to do something that breaks out of the ethical cage that has been built around society for generations, there's inevitably going to be kickback from that, right? Because there's going to be more people that are against that change than there are going to be people that are in favor of that change. Where does this kind of tie in is the idea of, like, with chaos is necessary for growth, right? Destruction happens for growth to happen, right? And so we do have to dismantle and break down certain systems and ideas in order for us to grow. But at the same time, we have to do it in such a way that doesn't make us a target. right? And so inside of that, with chaos, when we talk about kind of like the chaos theory or this chaos of the universe, right? I believe that everything exists in chaos. You look at Mystic and I, we just completely disagreed on one aspect. Some would call that turbulence. Some would call that, you flipping me off while you're drinking?
I was not.
You think I wouldn't catch that? You know, we fundamentally disagree on this, and some people might call that chaos. Some people are like, oh, well, now they're going to have a beef. One of the biggest
Had beef
things...
for dinner.
There you go. One of the biggest things that him and I have always stood for in the show is the importance of disagreeing, respecting each other's opinion, having a discussion about the disagreement, and then moving the fuck on. And if there's anything that we want this show to teach you guys, like if there's anything, of me personally, if there's anything that I want you guys to learn from this show, is to be able and have the ability to have a conversation about something you disagree with someone, so you can take in the learning experience, and so can the other person. We don't need to hate each other because we disagree on one fucking thing, or even 5 or 10.
And don't make judgments about people when you're having those disagreements. Because 99% of the time, the misunderstanding is in what you are projecting onto the other person. And that's what makes disagreeing. And this is why I hate agree to disagree. Because agree to disagree literally just means disagree. Like there's no, just disagree. But it's a way to people to like step out because the conversation gets hard. And I'm like, the conversation shouldn't get hard because I'm not judging the other person's beliefs. I'm simply stating my own.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, the most important part isn't just that and being able to have the conversation, but being able to let people, to me, I don't just, like, it's like I'm not just tolerating somebody else's beliefs or allowing them to believe, because it's not for me to allow.
Exactly.
But I leave space knowing that that is a valid way. Like, it's validation to me sometimes. If we can validate somebody else's system, just like with Christianity, I can validate that the religion can be effective and the belief systems can make sense as long as you're not being a dickhead. You know, you're being a dickhead, then no, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to agree with the concept of loving everybody. Like, I'm never going to go that route. Like, for me, I want the people that when I tell somebody that I love them, I want them to know that I love them fiercely, ferociously, with an unhindering passion. And for me, the only way that I can do that is by providing all of the love that I have inside of me to those people. That's my perspective. Mystic disagrees, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, agree. Seti made a really good comment that sums up what I was saying earlier, and I've heard this before in probably psych class. We don't live based on what others think. We act based on what we think other people think.
Yes.
That is exactly correct. It's unfortunate. I still do it constantly. It's nice that people can say that and remind you sometimes, wait a minute, I just did that thing where I act based on what I think you think, not what actually is happening. And it happens a lot. But I did want to answer the question above because it's a good one. Do you have to respect an opinion, though? I don't think, like you said, Seti, I don't think you have to respect the opinion. You can respect the person. And again, that goes back to like my allowing. I hate when people say, I allow people to have beliefs, or I allow to have conversations. No, we don't get to choose or to allow somebody else to be who they are and do what they do.
I agree with that. Yeah. I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was going to say the last piece is if your opinion is one that causes harm to me, then I'm not respecting you or your opinion. I love you. You're a good person and you're trying to do the right thing. But if you have an opinion that I shouldn't be able to get married, I'm not going to respect you or your opinion.
That's a comment on the person's personality, though, as well, not just their opinion. I mean, so no, you don't have to respect a person's opinion. You don't have to. I think the line should be drawn where we sit there and we believe just because we disagree with someone or we don't respect their opinion, that we have a moral obligation to try to adjust their
To correct
worldview.
it. Yeah.
And
That's a good point.
and that's where shit gets fucked up, because the moment somebody feels like they're attacked, let me just tell you right now, no person that has been forcibly has anyone has forcibly attempted to change their opinion has actually changed their opinion. You have actually concreted their opinion by trying to force them to change it.
It's behavioral theory. I think, like, I use the gay thing as an example. Like, if people disagree with me being gay, I'm not going to respect the opinion, and I'm not going to respect you very much either, because you're not allowing me to live my life. But I'm certainly not going to try to change your mind. I really don't care at that point. Like, I don't need to change your mind. I don't need to try to push you. But then that's not the hard situation, right? The hard situation is when somebody you love has a differing of opinion, and they just don't seem to realize how that affects you. You can respect them by saying exactly how you feel. We did when we had our conversation about politics. This is the reason why I feel this way. This is the reason you feel that way. We can still disagree on it, but now I understand why. And that is helpful.
So, Seti, like, that's actually a good thing that you bring up, right? So the Palestine thing, like, I'm going to be completely honest, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to be direct and open about this. I personally don't give a shit. Straight up. I don't fucking care. The Palestine and Israel conflict has been going on for hundreds of years. I think it sucks. I think it's fucking horrible. And I think everybody just needs to stop fucking killing each other. End of story. Like, I'm not choosing Israel. I'm not choosing Palestine. I'm not on either side. I don't fucking care. But they just need to stop killing each other over fucking land that doesn't actually belong to fucking anyone. It doesn't belong to fucking anyone. Stop fighting over it. Stop dying over it.
That is the thing that gets me. I know I have a hard time with a lot of people in my circles, because I do have a lot of older people in my circles. No offense, the majority of older people that are in my sphere are Republican, and that is a specific thing. I'm not saying that it's good or bad. It just is what it is. And they have a very specific process of thought and how to do things. And that is, to me, kind of what's missing, is that ability to, what am I trying to say? It's not live and let live that I'm looking for. It's recognizing that you don't have the right to tell somebody else how to live their life. It's not even it's almost, there's a responsibility to, you're a good person because you're tolerating gay people because they need to see the light. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not how this works. That's not how being a good person works to me. I want to have conversations. I want people to disagree, but I also want to know that we can have a conversation and that we're listening to each other and that there's mutual respect on the topic. And if, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm not going to say my theory on abortion. I think might have said it before, I don't know, but if people disagree with me, I don't label them as horrible people. They have a different perspective, and yes, I think it is wrong. But the key is, I think.
Well, I mean, I'll throw my opinion out there. But
there's a fundamental difference, though, with it that I want to point out. The fundamental difference is, I do believe in an absolute right or wrong in certain cases.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree there is an absolute right or wrong in certain cases. I completely. I mean, I'm not pro-choice or pro-life. I believe that there are circumstances and situations and nuances that I will never understand where an abortion is absolutely necessary. And there are situations and nuances where I don't believe that a late-term abortion should be permitted, because I believe that there's enough cerebral, context inside of the child to feel pain. But that's just my opinion, regardless of whether or not I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a what the fuck ever. I'm entitled to an opinion. And I don't want that right to be taken away, you know, from women to be able to do that. I don't want that to be taken away. I think Roe versus Wade being repealed was a fucking dumb idea. You know, but that's the extent of my opinion. I'm not going to judge anyone for getting an abortion or not getting an abortion. It's your life, it's your circumstance, and it doesn't fucking affect me. Do I have an opinion overall on the matter? Yeah. But am I going to judge you for doing something that you feel like you needed to do? It's none of my fucking business.
See, where I run into the trouble with it is I am against abortion. Completely 100%.
Okay.
But I am also pro none of my fucking business what a woman does with her uterus.
Uh-huh.
So while I don't think it's a good idea, I don't think I could ever do it. I don't like what supports behind it. I don't feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have zero right to tell somebody they should or should not get one. That is where I have the absolute right and wrong issue is not what your opinion is, whether it's you should or shouldn't do it. It's the opinion that you can control somebody else and what they do with that.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree.
I just can't. Like, I think that there's enough opportunities. Like, if somebody gets pregnant, there's adoption, there's other ways to do it. Or if you catch it early, fine, whatever. I have my own opinions, like I said, but I will never be okay with me telling a woman what they can and cannot do with their body, even if I am the father of the child. I'm not growing it inside of me for 9 months. Like, that is not my choice. I think that's where people get kind of messed up with this respect thing. Yes, I can respect your opinions. Yes, they can be different, but you can't control other people. That's where the problem is. And that's one of the issues I have with certain things. And let me be very clear, too. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. Both of them are absolute shite, in my opinion.
Absolute shit.
However, there is one way I will go in the election. That's going to not be fun for most people, but regardless.
Look, I'm sorry.
I just think that's where the cutoff is.
I cracked up laughing when I heard that Joe Biden referred to himself as a black woman on a radio show. I just died laughing.
He's done a lot of things that Joe has unfortunately not been very clear on, but it's funny. That was a good one.
Look, religion and politics, that's the one thing. It's funny that I've heard that all my life. Sad world is that there's two things you should never talk about: is religion and politics is always going to end in a fight. It doesn't have to end in a fight.
It doesn't.
You know,
we should be talking about religion and politics more and being able to have the conversation, because that's how you realize that, you know what, not every Republican is an idiot. Yeah, not every Republican's an idiot. Not every Democrat is a bleeding heart liberal, and maybe they are, and maybe we need those people when we need those people. I cannot find it for my life, but there is a episode in Modern Family, and I forget the guy's name, the two gay guys, but it's played by Jesse Tyler Ferguson and the other guy, which I can't remember. And they talk about how, one is way up in the sky. He goes all out. He's all over the place. He's chaotic. He's crazy. And the other guy is like down to earth and really quiet. And he says, but sometimes I fly so high, I need you to pull me back down to earth. And sometimes you're so low, you need me to pull you up a little bit. That's what we should be doing between political parties.
I agree.
Is having the conversations on the topics so that we can find the right balance, and that is just gone. And that's why I don't think we need to talk about it more, religion and politics, because it isn't going away, and we have to be able to talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, like, so the problem that I actually want to kind of comment on something that Seti said earlier. So he says, I meant more people commenting saying either side deserves it when innocents, including children, absolutely don't. So there's one thing from Fallout, and I think Mystic is going to appreciate this.
Oh, I will. It's Fallout related.
That I completely agree with, and I think people need to take more stock in. Like, literally, like on a global fucking level. War never changes.
Yep.
The people that are hurt most in conflict are the people that don't fucking deserve it. in any war. Whether it's Russia, Ukraine, Palestine, Israel, U.S., Iraq, it doesn't matter what war we're talking about or how much we try to cut down civilian casualties or how we try to do a humane. There is no humane war. Have you heard that phrase? A humane war?
Yes.
There
And it
is
makes no sense.
Yeah, there is no such thing as a fucking humane war. And you would think the suffering of innocents would be more than enough for everyone to stop, step back, and think about what the fuck they're doing. It is everyone involved in a conflict that escalates it and makes it fucking worse. There is no sides in a war. There isn't. When you actually take a step back and you look at the people that are getting hurt and you look at the people that are fucking dying, there is no side in a war. There's only the victims of it. That's it.
True to a degree. The sides are the people that are up pulling the strings, right?
I mean, what that's in their heads, though.
They don't.
I mean,
Right,
Hitler
because
thought he was doing a fucking wonderful job.
Exactly. It's in those are the ones though that are in control, and everybody else is paying the price.
So if you want to
Which
talk
is-
about the higher ups, but I'm talking about the people that actually fucking suffer from the fucking thing. You know, I mean, how many people actually got killed in World War II by Nazi Germany that weren't actually Jews? Hundreds of thousands. And also, that's not like an anti-Semitic comment where I think that Jews deserved it. No, they didn't fucking deserve it. Like, anybody that watches this podcast and tries to take shit out of context, fuck you. Like, I'm just going to say that right now. Because I guarantee goddamn it that some jackass is going to go through this and nitpick certain fucking things that we've said and take it completely out of context. If you're the person doing that directly to you, go fuck yourself. Find something better to do in your fucking life.
They'll do it if they want. I think though the thing that gets me about war, and we're like so totally off subject now.
That's the beauty of this thing, though.
It's always, to me, it always comes down to certain things, and one of those things is usually control, and it's control over people or control over resources. We're just a greedy species.
Mm-hmm.
We are really out for ourselves to make sure that we get what we need, instead of really understanding that when there is enough for everybody. There are enough resources for everybody to be comfortable. And I find it sad that we can't get to that idea. And I mean, wars happen for many different reasons, but it does seem to all come down to that. And I mean, it's sad because when you get two people having a conversation of different belief systems, it becomes a mini war because they cannot see that their side. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong or we're all broken, screwy human beings trying to do the best we can, trying to live the best we can, trying to find our way through the best we can. We don't need people to make it worse. That's what drew me to the occult. People in the occult and people in the outcast in my groups, they were the ones that allowed me to be exactly who I was with no excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't have to be a certain way. You don't have to do something. Now, I will say the occult world is getting a little worse, which we have to be really active about not letting things go bad with that, because
I agree.
I don't want to even use the G word, the gatekeeping, but it's not even gatekeeping. It's just literally, oh, if you believe this, I can't be around you. It's like, oh no, I can't, come to this group because y'all have Satanists in this group.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on.
Or the Satanist saying that there's no such thing, like you can't be a theistic Satanist and shit like that. It's just like, I mean, you just created Catholicism with a pentagram and a black candle.
Yeah.
That's what you did. By the way, I stole that statement from Black Witch Dyra. She's the one that said that first, but I completely agree with it. And you know what, Seti, I'm gonna say like I've heard that before, like the whole nuclear weapons thing. I don't think the planet is going to die in a blaze of nuclear fire. And the reason I don't think that is because regardless of the fact that the United States has a shit ton of nukes, Russia has a shit ton of nukes, and a bunch of other countries have a shit ton of nukes, nobody's going to shoot off that first nuke. And you want to know why nobody's going to shoot off that first nuke? Is because they know the moment they shoot off that first nuke, the next country is going to shoot off their nukes. And what's going to happen when everybody shoots off their nukes? Everybody fucking dies. Everybody fucking dies.
Might need to happen.
So, right, and then the planet becomes completely uninhabitable. So
By humans.
By humans, at the very least, cockroaches will still be around. Them motherfuckers don't die for shit. But
I don't know. Those dogs in Chernobyl did pretty good.
yeah, right. Fucking 3 heads and shit. But you know, I don't think, you know.
Yeah.
I come into nukes. I missed a lot.
You missed a lot.
You did. Yeah, you missed a lot.
We're talking about occult nuclear war.
So I don't think that's necessarily going. I think the threat of nuclear war exists. Okay. Everybody, put your tinfoil hats on. Okay. Put your tinfoil hats on. All right. Because, like, I have nothing to back this up, right? There's no fucking proof for this. This is a conspiracy theory all the way. I believe that the threat of nuclear war exists just to keep certain people in fucking line. What the higher ups want is to find a way to be able to properly control the populace and what the populace
all working
thinks.
Together.
Yeah, exactly. They're all working together.
There's 1 or 2 that aren't, like North Korea. They're just not. But
yeah, they're just not.
There's no way we haven't bombed them yet if we weren't in on whatever it is. Mm-hmm. They're all the same. They're all the same.
Exactly. So I'm not worried one iota about a nuclear war because I believe that the whole threat of nuclear war only exists to scare the shit out of the people that are not in the know. That's not to say that I am in the know. That's just to say that I am a fucking weirdo with weird opinions. Okay? That's it. But the more I look at shit, the more it makes sense. You know what movie? Seti, you're going to appreciate this because you're British. All right? You know what movie I think explains it fucking perfectly of what they want to do?
Is this going to be racist? All British people have seen this movie?
No, they probably
You've already been
haven't.
Racist against British once.
You know,
racist.
But V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta, I believe that is
a good movie.
Is if you look at how the governmental system is set up in that movie, I think most people in government watch that movie and be like, dude, yes, that's what we need. And the sad thing is, we keep playing the hand. Because the best way for a government to control its people is to keep its people fighting each other.
Yeah.
Because if we're fighting each other, we're not fighting them. We're not standing against them because we're too busy bitching and complaining about each other. Race, politics, political stance,
There's a
sex,
word for that.
Gender, fucking... I mean, come on. Like, you want to talk about being woke? You want to be woke? Wake the fuck up and actually see what the fuck is happening around you.
What? Why is that such a bad word? We can end on that if you want, but I don't have to talk about it. I just don't understand how that became a slang term.
What?
Woke.
I don't know.
Awaken.
I don't know.
And snowflake. Like, I like snowflakes. I like snow. They're pretty neat. And I consider myself awakening. I don't think I'm woke yet, but I'm waking up to a lot of things that I didn't know and wasn't a part of. I just can't imagine like how that turns into the. I mean, it literally is like nana nana boo boo to me.
Right? It is.
Woke, like nanny nanny boo boo. I'm like, really? Come on now. Like, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But
you hate V for Vendetta, but you like the Hunger Games. I mean, to each their own, man. To each their own, brother.
I love the Hunger Games.
It was a good movie. It was a good movie.
I like the books.
When my kid has me rewatching fucking Harry Potter.
also a good one. Those are still better books. Like I don't like Hunger Games books are way better than the movie. The movie's really good. They did a good
I mean,
job, but the books are
always going
amazing.
to be, right? Because there's more detail, stuff like that. Right? Like, so what a lot of people don't realize about the difference between movies and books is like all of the stuff that's explained in the book
Oh,
happens visually in a movie.
but that's why movies suck. I mean, I love movies. I should say that. But reading the book, what it is for me is the fantasy of it all. And I don't know if everybody reads the same. I'm sure there's differences, but I'm like I narrate and I see it visually playing out in my head with the people I chose. The best space opera is The Expanse. I love it. I'm like on the 10th book out of like 12. And it had a series on Amazon, and I saw the cover of the series. I'm like, oh fuck no, I can't watch this. That's not what James looks like. That's not what the Captain Holden looks like. That's not what Naomi looks like. That I can't do it. That is not how they sound. Like I can't watch the show.
Yeah, no, I mean the thing
Because
that
I
always
have a relationship
irritated
with
me
them in my
with
head.
Harry Potter, with Harry Potter, like I never like I know that like Harry Potter is pretty well explained, like described in the books, but I can't stand that in the movies Harry Potter is this scraggly fucking preteen puke that's afraid of fucking everything. Like I can't stand it. Like it's like you got this kid that's supposed to be like the fucking, you know, savior prophecy kid of the fucking magical world, and he's this little straggly preteen puke that
Well,
screeches at his own fucking shadow.
that's the point, isn't it? Though he's coming of age.
I suppose. Like that's why I guess I like the later.
Transition.
Yeah, I like the later movies.
Agree.
He kind of comes into
But they're
himself a
all
little
good
bit
in their
more.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like watching the development of Hermione.
Don't make me drop the P word.
Happiness.
P word.
What's the P word?
You just said you like the fucking development of Hermione. Like, don't make me drop the P word.
I'm done.
I just gave you shit.
Good show, y'all. Oh my god. I'm slow, but not dead.
Be nice to a scraggly, heavily neglected boys. Well, I mean, I wasn't expecting them to be like fucking like The Rock or something, but you know, like personality-wise, I wanted a little bit more fortitude, you know, to his personality because of his moral standing in the books. Like, I just kind of wanted him to kind of represent that a little bit more in the movies, you know, like, you know, that moral fortitude, those values that he has, you know, but throughout the whole movie, like most of the first movies anyway, he's literally scared of his own fucking shadow. He's just like,
Yeah.
you know, and
It was
it's like,
adjusted for the audience.
yeah, you know, so the way, you know, the way that I saw him was like kind of more like, yeah, like he was this skinny fucking kid, but like he had this like fucking lion of a personality, you know, and at least that's how I saw him. And no, not at all. Like I think the movies didn't do Harry Potter justice. They're still good movies, don't get me wrong, but I think, you know, having a bit...
Almost they're good movies independently, separate of all that, I think.
Yeah. You know. Anyway, guys, that is definitely going to be it because it is fucking 8 o'clock. We've been going for fucking almost 2 hours now. But great fucking show. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you, motherfuckers, for all being here. My lovely fucking demons. You guys are amazing. Remember all the fucking adverts at the beginning. You know, go, you know, adisday.com for rituals, divination, spiritual consultations, threads for the dead for clothes, witch skills for courses. You guys are fucking amazing. We love you, and fucking hail thy fucking self as always. Peace the fuck out.
Deuces.